Subscribe to James the Sheriff Dixon, you motherfucker.
This is Fun Times with the Sheriff, Season 4, Episode 9. I got my cousin Brent on. Say hello.
How's it going?
So, I got a list I want to go over, like we were just talking about. Was there one you wanted to start off with first?
Not particularly. I tried to watch some of that new Ant-Man movie. I know that was something we were talking about.
Oh, so what'd you think of, whatever you saw, what'd you think of it?
I had a really not a great copy of it, so it was, probably some of the visual effects were lost. I mean, I did enjoy Bill Murray being in it. I thought that was pretty cool.
I thought that was a random scene though, because they didn't even give him a name really. It was just like Bill Murray being Bill Murray.
Yeah, it was like the mom's boyfriend for the 30-something years she was locked in the quantum realm or whatever.
Yeah, and like I said, when I watched it, like they didn't even give him a name. I feel like a bunch of people feel like Bill Murray just walked in on set, was like, I want to do this, and they shot it in 5 minutes in one take, and that was it.
I wouldn't be surprised. That man kind of has that level of energy, whereas, shit, what was the kid's name? Oh my god, the kid who plays Mark Zuckerberg in the Facebook.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah, Jesse Eisenberg has the energy of, I wandered on the set, I was awkward, I didn't know what to do, they paid me money, and then released a movie that I happened to be in.
Yeah, talking about that Facebook one, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
He's like the complete, Bill Murray's the polar opposite of that, whereas he's like, hey, I hear they're shooting a Marvel movie, I'm just going to go walk in there and see if I can get a part. Why not?
Yep, he does have that cell phone line where if you just pitch a good movie, he'll do it.
Oh yeah, no, he's. His cameo in Zombieland was awesome. You know, I've always enjoyed him as an actor since I was, a kid, and seeing him in movies like Caddyshack and just,
Groundhog Day.
Yeah, he was the lead in that one, but the movies where he's
like a side character, yeah,
a side character, not a main focus character. It feels like they just kind of write to his. Maybe they write to his strengths, or they're just like, hey, Bill, this is your general character idea, and just be that guy, and then just let him do what he wants to do.
And I was going to go, because we were talking about Marvel, I want to go over my take on it. So, you've heard how poorly it's done in theaters, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, honestly, dude, like I said, I had a bad copy. I'm like, I'll wait until I get a better copy, but honestly, I had zero interest. I was watching it and following it, and I like Paul Rudd. I like the Ant-Man character. I like everything about it. But the thing is they turn him into like that. The thing that really took me out of it was when he was like, his daughter got arrested. And
when he made the deal with Jonathan Major's character, yeah.
Yeah, and then he's like, I saved the fucking universe. And she's like, yeah? Well, what have you done lately? And I'm like, that is such a fucking snarky teenage...
girl thing to say.
angsty girl thing to say. It's like, bitch, what did you do? You know? You did nothing but sit around and cry because your daddy was gone.
Yeah. Everyone was...
You want to come at me?
Yeah, everyone was snapped away except for her. Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, what have you done lately? And it's like, wow. It just, I mean, as a parent... Let me tell you something. I hope my kids have more respect for me than that. Because I'll tell you something. My ex-wife has the same level of disdain for me, and she did the whole time we were married. Like, oh, I can't believe you fixed the car last week. What have you done this week? It's like, last week I saved us $1,500 by doing our own repairs.
Yeah.
That's what I did. So, but I just, like, that really, like, that irked me. Like, it's like, when that line came on in the movie, I'm like, I really, like, if I was at the theater, I might have got up and been like, hey, man, I'm like 15 minutes into this movie. I want my money back. I don't wanna watch this.
Everyone says that, like, for an Ant-Man movie, he's, like, the worst part of his, like, own movie.
Yeah, that's what I was getting. Like, they were just dogging on him the whole fucking time, and then it's like, oh, I'm gonna make a space bridge to go in so we can study the quantum realm without actually having to go into it. And then the mom, who, spent the better part of her life there, was like, hey man, shut it down right now. I don't have to explain to you why. I'm telling you right now, this is a terrible idea. Angsty teenage snarky response, and then the fucking whole movie changes and they get sucked into hell or whatever.
That was the other thing, was that Janet's character. She didn't say anything for the first 2 movies about why she was there. Like, she didn't even tell Hank Pym's character, the guy who created everything, what to be afraid of. And everyone hated that. For like 45 minutes into the movie, she didn't say anything, and then he shows up and she starts talking about him.
Right. It's like, I don't know, man. I feel like, and I'm probably in the minority by saying this, but I honestly feel like Favreau did an amazing job with the whole
starting the whole like storylines and stuff.
Getting it to Endgame.
Yeah.
That whole cycle, those whole 30 movies, spectacularly done. A great story told over the course of so many films, over so many years of production.
Yeah, like 15 years of movie. Yeah.
And now they're just clutching at straws, trying to keep that momentum alive. But it's like it literally culminated. It finished in Endgame. Fucking Captain America handed his shield off to the Falcon.
It's a guy with no superpowers.
Yeah, he handed his shield off to the Falcon. He's like, "You're Captain America now." It's like, "Oh, that's cool, passing of the torch." But at the same time, it's like, all right, so the whole thing kind of wrapped up because it was Iron Man was technically the first movie in the franchise
in 2008. Yep.
And then they went and put Captain America and shoehorned him in, quote unquote, historically. They put him before
Iron Man.
So it's like Iron Man dies, Captain America hands off his shield. It's like, okay.
Thor's the only one left, really.
Right, but the next logical step would be follow the Falcon, and they did that with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
TV show, yeah.
But again, I didn't watch all of that because I was like, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in any of this shit. It's not Steve Rogers. It's not Tony Stark.
It's the writing.
Like, those were the characters I got interested in, and now those guys don't exist anymore, and I'm like, I really just don't fucking want to dive into it anymore. Ant-Man was, again, awesome when they brought him in. Again, a huge Paul Rudd fan. But the way they just kind of stabbed him in the back and the front at the same time.
Twisted that knife.
It's like that knife that Thanos gave to Gamora. With the perfectly balanced blade, and just like stuck it in his gut and extended the blades out. But it's ridiculous, man. I mean, maybe I'm missing something by not watching the whole movie. But the dude's just basically getting the shit kicked out of him for the first hour or 45 minutes that I watched.
Yeah, I want to talk about the rest of that part of that movie. Jonathan Majors, I think, carried it.
Yeah.
Which, like we were just talking about, like in his own movie, Ant-Man should be carrying it like the first two, but Jonathan Majors was the best part of it. He played the villain at the end of Loki season 1 that Sylvie killed.
Yeah.
He played He Who Remains, who introduced us to the Kong variant.
Yeah, I remember He Who Remains. Yeah, that's the guy. Yeah.
And then apparently, because of this movie, all of the Marvel shows and movies are being pushed back to have their writing looked at.
Good. They need to.
Because that's all I'm seeing over Facebook.
They need to seriously. They can't just. And I'm not saying this is what they've done in the past, but they can't just keep dropping movies
Every couple of months.
As soon as they fall out of the writer's head, and be like, "Oh, this got the Marvel stamp on it. That means everybody's going to go and see it."
Yeah, just like that's what happened in Phase 4. Like every couple of months, there was either a movie or a TV show.
Right, and it's like overwhelming. Like I will say that I really liked the Loki show. I was a really big fan of
WandaVision.
WandaVision was great, and then as soon as the Doctor Strange movie came out and she killed Patrick Stewart,
I remember you getting to a rage about that. Yeah.
Dude, I can't even I have a visceral reaction to anyone who hurts a Patrick Stewart character, and I was a huge Wanda fan.
Elizabeth Olsen, yeah.
I remember when I got divorced, and I was so heartbroken. I would have given anything to have my family back, and that's all she wanted was to get her family back. And blah 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 blah. I could totally see why she would do this, and she has all these powers and she can do it. And then I'm like, fuck this bitch.
The funny thing about
Professor X, what a bitch.
The funny thing I want to bring up for that movie is she never brought up Vision either once.
Yeah, she or her kids. Her imaginary kids, she never brought them up either. She's just like, all right, put that in the past. It's in the past box and it's filed away. And it's like, wow, that was an entire series that just was, I guess, not canon then, or she's literally.
Though they only rewrit it because of people that might have not seen the show. They rewrit it so that way they don't have to.
Oh, okay.
If that makes sense to you, they did it because not everybody, like you just said, not everybody's gonna go and sit down and watch this show. They're just gonna go see the movies.
Yeah, that's true. It honestly took me till Iron Man 2 to get into the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm not even gonna lie about it, but I went as soon as I saw Iron Man 2, and the only reason I actually saw Iron Man 2 is because I'm like, oh shit, he's driving a Formula 1 car. That's pretty neat. Let's check it out. And then, I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. I got to see how this started. And then, I just kind of kept following along with it like everybody else did.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I want to bring up one last thing. This might spoil it, but I know you're going to watch it anyways, or at least some point. The ending scene for Ant-Man was fucking crazy. It's just Jonathan Majors, like, 1,000 different variants of him in a stadium field with like Halloween store bought costumes and screaming. Like screaming like let's go, like the three main people that are three Jonathan Major characters that are in charge of the Kong Council, because I looked up all the comic stuff up after that movie. They said he tried to escape, so we're gonna have to get ready for him, and then it just shows that. And that's how the movie ends.
Right on. I mean, honestly, like I said, I have a telesync cam version of it, and because I'm not paying to see it in theaters because of how bad the reviews are, and honestly, I've been let down by Marvel more than I've been
any other thing.
Like they've done nothing to earn my confidence or my $22 ticket price.
Or like a way more because I know you have kids too, so.
Well, yeah, again, that was a pretty good period of time when all these Marvel movies were coming out because my son likes them. My daughters are actually they were into, Black Widow and the Scarlet Witch and stuff. And,
yeah.
Doctor Strange and all that. So when the movies did come out, it was something for us to do. But now I'm just like, I'm not interested, guys. I mean, unless you guys really want to see it, then I'll take them to see it. But I'm not going on my own.
Yeah. So with that, we can pivot into another topic. You said you finally caught up on The Last of Us.
Yep, and The Walking Dead, and pretty much. Oh, and I'm up to date on The Mandalorian. I forgot it had started until I saw you a couple weeks ago, and then I was like, oh shit, I gotta start watching.
Oh yeah, when we were all talking about it. Yep.
Yeah.
So what were your thoughts on The Last of Us? Because for a person who's played, I played the game ever since it came out in 2013, at least once a year.
Nice. Yeah, I'm still on my first playthrough. But I watched a playthrough because I couldn't afford a PlayStation when it first came out, and I just, I gave my ex-wife the PlayStation when we got divorced. She's like, oh, you can't take all the new consoles and all the computers, and I'm like, you're not going to do anything with them anyways, but whatever. So anyways, I had to give her the PS3, and I was like, oh, I can't afford to buy one for a while. So I just recently bought a PS4, and I got it for $100 on eBay, which is crazy. And I've been playing through it, and from what I've played so far and seen when I watched playthroughs, it seems like they stuck really closely to the story and a lot on most of the major plot points.
Yeah, the finale is like an exact copy paste from the game. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it was spectacular. I mean, and that's the thing too is I don't know how you feel about Pedro Pascal, but that dude,
I love him. Oh, he was great in that one Nick Cage movie,
Oh my god, I love that movie. That movie's hilarious.
Where Nick Cage plays himself and Pedro Pascal's like the #1 fan. He was great in that. I love him in The Mandalorian, like you just said. I love Pedro.
Dude, he's setting the world on fire right now. How Chris Pratt was a couple years ago when he was in Jurassic Park movies, Lego movies, just coming off of Parks and Rec, got in shape.
And now the Mario movie.
Yeah, that might be his downfall, honestly, from the way.
Well, what I'm hearing from online is after that last trailer, people are now actually interested.
Okay, well that's good because people were very, very upset at first. So, but I mean, that's where Pedro Pascal is right now. Dude's in movies and
shows
and
he's gonna play the dad.
I've seen a couple memes about him being like Dad of the Year because he's got Ellie and a child.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, dude, this guy's fucking. He seems pretty like in all the like red carpet interviews and stuff, and him being interacted with in public. That he seems pretty down to earth, like he's not a dick about it.
Or getting it to his head, yeah.
Yeah, he's not letting it get to his head, exactly. He seems pretty awesome. But no, I really liked that show, The Last of Us. It was really good. I liked how it added some backstory
to some of the characters.
And I like how it kind of breached into like the download content or the expansion pack about Ellie and her friend.
Yeah, the girlfriend. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why I didn't say girlfriend. They were well. I mean, they weren't technically girlfriend.
Well, in the game, they just straight up say they are. So.
Right, they were in the show. It's like they're
hinted at.
They want to date her, but the girl that I can't remember the girl's name. wanted to like. She's like, I can't date you because you're not gonna leave Fedra and I'm in the Fireflies. We can't be together. And then she's like, fuck it, let's be together. I'll leave.
And then they got bit in that whole thing. Yep.
Yeah, that was kind of shitty. But I mean, that's the life of the zombie apocalypse, I guess.
Speaking of The Last of Us, I just started replaying the second one because it takes me a minute to play games. I know you know that.
Oh yeah.
And I'm playing the second one. The visuals I completely forgot are way better on the PlayStation 4 than the first game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because like you said, PlayStation or The Last of Us came out in like 2012 or 2013.
When I was still in high school.
Dude, actually, right now, when you texted me to say let's do this podcast record, I'm playing a game from like 2005 on my PlayStation called Dark Cloud. It's this old game I played when I was a kid. It's kind of like a PlayStation version of Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a dungeon crawler, and I'm having the best time, dude. I've only just got it like a week ago, and I've already got like 14 hours into it.
Wow.
That's crazy for me because I never sit down and play video games anymore because I'm just like, what's the point? But this one has sucked me right back in. I feel like I'm a fucking teenager again. It's ridiculous.
So final thoughts on The Last of Us. Great. If you haven't seen it,
I thought it was spectacular, man. Honestly, I'm gonna have to beat this game and then get the second one, beat it too before they do the second series.
Yeah.
Because there's no way they're not gonna do this.
Oh no, they're filming next year and it's coming out in 2025, or they're starting at the end of this year and they're gonna film into next year and it's gonna come out around the same time, 2025. Second season.
I figured. I don't have any kind of information on what kind of numbers it's doing, but it has to have done.
Oh no, it grew in like each episode got 2 million more views on the last, and the finale just broke everything for like HBO.
Oh, I believe it. It's again, even people that never played the game can enjoy. That was
the big driving point, was the people that haven't played it.
Yeah. But I mean, it was people, again, even if they've never seen it, it's still a very compelling show.
Plus, it appeals, like we were just saying, to people who like the zombie genre in general, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's not going on. I figured with the Walking Dead finale, I figured maybe the zombie mania would drop off a little bit, but that ain't happening.
This show just revived it.
Yeah, well, I mean, not to mention, there's 4 spin-offs launching from the finale off of The Walking Dead?
Yeah, this the Rick and Michonne one, which is coming out next year. The Daryl one, the Maggie and Negan one. That's 3. I can't remember. I think the 4th one is Fear the Walking Dead is ending next month.
Oh, okay. Are they doing anything with Carol and Daryl?
Carol is up in the air right now, but Melissa McBride does want to come back at some point as Carol.
Oh, right on.
Which I know I told you she's my favorite.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
I think she had the best character development in that entire show, I personally think.
Honestly, yeah. And it's insane to see her in the last season, or in any season past, I want to say 3.
Yeah.
Versus the person she was in the first couple episodes. And it's like, whoa, geez, like she did a 180. Like, it's kind of crazy how if someone's got their thumb on you and they're suppressing you like that you just become you're
badass,
a shell of a person. But all that fucking rage and resentment is built into you, man. And then as soon as that switch flips, it's like, watch out.
So I want to go into Velma real quick because if we were just talking about HBO, what are your thoughts on that one? I know you said you haven't seen it, but like from what you've heard,
I heard it was a flop. I'll just be kind by saying that, and if I'm being unkind, I'm gonna say that they tried to shoehorn in so much fucking politics that it wasn't even really a show about what it was supposed to be about. Is what I heard. I don't know. I wasn't going to watch it, but then I saw so many bad reviews about it, and that's my whole channel's stick is bad reviews. Yeah. And that there was already 6 episodes up because I was like, I'm not watching it. So I binged the 6 episodes, and then they released the last 4 episodes 2 at a time. So within a month after I binged the first 6, I was like, fuck it, and I watched the last 4. And they are bad. How can you have my thing was I'm a Scooby-Doo fan. I've watched all the movies and shows. No Scooby-Doo. Yeah. What the hell?
And that was the whole point of the show, was the talking dog.
Right.
In every
And,
single.
you know, just terrible animation from the 80s or the 60s through the 80s and everything. But I mean, honestly, it was a good show. I always enjoyed watching
I
it.
remember we had that VHS copy whenever we went camping, and that's when we would watch it in our trailer.
Yeah. Yeah. Even the movies were not terrible.
Yeah, the Zombie Island one, the best one.
And the one with Freddie Prinze Jr. and
The live action, yes. Sarah Michelle Gellar, Freddie Prinze, yep, and Hawkeye's wife as Velma.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't terrible.
And then, like I was about to say, the Zombie Island one, the best animated one they've done.
Yeah, that one was great. The kids were actually a little bit scared of that one.
When I was their age, I was too. Because that was the very first one where they started to make it like, oh, these are actually real, like, demons and shit that they're gonna deal with.
Right.
So, it was terrible. They shoehorn in the Scooby-Doo jokes, and they make fun of adults for watching cartoons when they're an adult cartoon, and Mindy Kaling is getting a second season just because it's Mindy Kaling, because the numbers grew because of people hate watching it. And the last episode, they shoehorned in the Mystery Machine, and they didn't call it a Mystery Machine. They just jumped in a van and drove off in it.
Is it? Oh, so what's the timeline like? Is it like before Mystery Inc. is formed, or is it?
It's they're forming the group as like they're going through high school, so it's like not before.
Oh.
So it's not before. It's like right in the center, like when they're forming it.
Okay.
And Fred's
That makes a little more sense.
And Fred's the only character that stays the same race or whatever, because I know that was a huge deal with the race swapping. And he's rich instead of Daphne, because in all the iterations, Daphne was the rich one. Now he is.
Yeah, but I mean, he also was the pretentious blonde white dude with an ascot. So I mean, I always assumed he had some money, but wasn't quite as rich as Daphne.
Yeah, I know you know that. She was the rich one in all the other ones, so yeah, they just switched that up, which wasn't a big deal thing to me either.
Did you say they made him a different race as well?
Shaggy's black. Mindy Kaling, who plays Velma, is Indian. And Daphne is Asian. Also a lesbian in love with Velma.
Again, these are all... So the joke with the cartoon was that the girls were always into each other. And the guys were into the girls being into each other. That was the joke that was never spoken of or never acknowledged with the cartoon. So now they're just coming out and saying it. And they're throwing all these different... Again... I have nothing against changing the races of characters.
That's the whole rage right now. Yeah, that's the whole rage with reboots that are happening left and right now. Yep.
But the thing is, it's like, are they doing it because they want to be inclusive, or are they doing it because that's what makes money?
No, for Velma, they're doing it just to make fun of it.
They're trying to make fun of it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the show, so I don't know what to say. All I know is that again, with all the politics and gender politics and race and all that shit that apparently they're focusing on, it's really doesn't... I'll probably wind up watching it. I just haven't yet. I don't really care to.
No, put that at the bottom of your list. Like, if you want to watch something, which will bring me into my last segment here, like TV shows and movies you've been watching. Like we talked about before, I binged that show, The Bear.
Oh yeah.
And it was really great. The second season is coming out in June, so I'm glad I binged it now.
Okay. Yeah, I just finished watching Shameless again, just because it was a good show, and really kind of that character.
I remember we were talking about it at Aunt Julie's like a few weeks ago. That Shameless, yeah.
Yeah, that was an excellent show.
What'd you think of the finale? With Frank floating up on a bar stool with the beer in his hand, that I thought the last few seasons were very bad.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it dropped off when Fiona left, I think.
See, that was originally how I felt about it, but then when I watched it for a second time, I was like, wow, I really don't like her. And then Debbie took over, and I'm like, wow, I really, really don't like Debbie. Like, if my daughters turned out like either one of those women, I would feel ashamed of myself.
And then, apparently, I forgot that Lips, the brother from the Bear, the actor, he took over pretty much too since Fiona left.
Yeah, like he was oldest, so he was like he had to take charge of the family. But it was like every time he tried to like sell the house or whatever,
they all got up in his face. Yeah.
Yeah, and Debbie would just, you're trying to sell my family's house out from under me. He's like, no, I'm trying to like make it so you don't have to grow up in a shithole ghetto like we did, because that's what's best for your kids. And now that I have a kid, I'm trying to do what's best for your kid.
Yeah.
Like, I understand. Trust me, dude. As somebody whose entire family has moved to the corners of the earth. My dad lives in Traverse City. My mom moved to Al Gray. My one brother lives on the other side of the state over at Battle Creek. My other brother lives all the way down in fucking Maryland, but God only knows where he is.
Yeah.
I desperately miss my family being within a shouting distance or under the same roof. But at the same time, you got to do what's best for your kids, man.
Yep.
So, this is completely off topic from the show we want.
That's why I think I've told you this. I'm slowly trying to push towards unscripted content for next season, so that's the good thing. It can go anywhere.
Or not, yeah. No, I mean, honestly, it's like, so the first time through, I was like, yeah, you know, I can see where the Fiona is coming from, trying to better herself, and then she gets that guy was basically lying and saying that he wasn't married, he was, or whatever, and then she crashed her car, and she lost her everything, and everything fell apart. And yeah, that shit happens, dude. People get sent back to zero all the time by a failed relationship, but at the same time, she just became a total twant and just fucking treated everybody terribly, had a fucking piss poor attitude the whole time. And then when Debbie, you know, starts yelling at her about, hey, you know, you got to pay your part of the water bill, you got to pay your part of the power bill. Part of me's like, yeah, I understand that. And then at the same time, it's like, hey man, do you remember the last 15 years of your fucking life where this woman worked 3 full-time jobs?
Oh yeah, that's what broke.
Out of high school to take care of you and your brother.
That's what broke her in the last season she was in. She had 3 different jobs. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just like, it's like, I would never fucking forget how much somebody helped me the instant I became in charge. Like, all right, well now you need to start.
Oh, the older brother didn't. When he became in charge, he didn't.
Yeah, that's what he was like. You know, you got to cut her some slack. He was the only one saying that too. He's like, yeah, give her a break. And, but yeah, this other show, I'm actually gonna look right now while we're talking. I'm gonna punch it in on my tab and see if I can find a good torrent for that first season.
I was gonna say, I got 2 more that I was gonna bring up. I binge watched this one. There's a Johnny Knoxville show called Reboot, where it's about it's pretty much what's happening now. All these TV shows are being rebooted. It's about an old sitcom that's coming back and being more adult and edgy. And Johnny Knoxville is one of the main characters in it.
Nice.
And the last one I all caught up on. Not caught up, but I've been watching. I've been watching Nathan for You.
I haven't seen that one. I have heard of it. What was the other one called? The Johnny Knoxville one?
Reboot. It's just called Reboot. It's great. It's 1 season. You can binge it. It's 20 minutes per episode. It's pretty much like what's happening right now. Like an old sitcom gets picked up for a reboot by Hulu, and then they straight up say that in the TV show too. That's part of the plot, and then it goes from there.
Okay. Now looking at that, let's see.
All right, so we're coming close to the time now, so.
All right. Yeah, no, I'm taking notes on shit to download and watch.
Okay.
And you're honestly, dude, you're one of the only people I'll take recommendations from because you had to shoot me wrong. Like that Lost Skeleton of Cadaver was one of the funniest fucking.
Oh, I was gonna bring up this too. I saw Cocaine Bear.
Oh, yeah, hell of a send off for Ray Liotta.
Did you see that one?
Oh, absolutely. I watched it 3 times.
Oh, I this is gonna be the last thing because we're at that time.
Okay.
Quick thoughts on Cocaine Bear. Thought it was fucking crazy. I watched it with Mom, Jack, Aunt Marie was over, Tommy and his friend Charlie. We all watched together. I think it's best to watch it with other people. We just made fun of it the entire time through.
It's crazy. Kathy Bates. No, that's not Kathy Bates, is it?
No, the park ranger. Yeah.
That's not Kathy Bates, but that was she was the secretary in that show Dexter. But she cracked me up. Just
the way the cocaine bear just went after you if you had cocaine.
Oh yeah, she did the way that the EMT was able to distract it with the bag just because the bag happened to be orange.
Yeah.
It's really clever. Like I didn't know bears.
It's like I want to say right now for my favorite review that because I do have a review coming out on my channel. It's like this is gonna be I think this is my favorite bad movie after The Lost Pastor. To be honest.
Nice.
You've seen that one, right?
No, I haven't. I completely forgot to watch it.
That one's still my all-time favorite band movie. One of the reasons why I started my channel. I follow the guy on Instagram who plays the priest, and they just got funding to start doing the second one.
Nice.
So but like I said, for quick thoughts, it's great. You can tell what's gonna happen in the next scene and the scene before, but that does not ruin the movie, I think.
Nice.
Don't you agree? For Cocaine Bear, you can guess what's gonna happen in the next scene, and it does not ruin that movie.
Yeah, no, it's pretty much every time there's a lull in action or a pause, it's like, oh, bear's coming, bear's gonna be there, bear's gonna be there in 10 seconds.
The bear acted like Jason throughout the entire movie, and at times Jaws.
Yeah. Well, when he's chasing the ambulance and then he jumps into the back of the ambulance, it's like that's not how physics work. Faster than the ambulance to launch off the ground to land in the ambulance is speeding away.
And take one guy with him.
Yeah, but it was funny as hell. That movie was great. It had me cracking up. One of my buddies that I work with watched it too, and he said, "Yeah, I'll tell you what, man, it was pretty funny when it wasn't like crazy action going on, but it was gory as hell." Like he's one of the people that's really cautious about letting his kids watch that kind of shit.
Yeah.
He's like, definitely not something to watch with your kids, and I'm like, I might watch it with my oldest, maybe not the younger two.
Yeah. So we're at that time now. We went over everything. Is there any final words you want to say before we end it here?
No, just thanks for the recommendations. I'm downloading both The Bear and Reboot right now, and I'll probably start watching them later tonight, if not tomorrow. So, always looking for good shows, and it's always a good time talking to you, even online or when we hang out in person, which is few and far in between.
Yeah, and thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for having me.
I just want to shout out an amazing channel, James the Sheriff Dixon. Oh, he's such a great guy, and he is super cool for coming to the show. I'm glad I got to meet him in person, and you should subscribe.